Welcome to our interview with Bill Conerly, author of Businomics, From the Headlines to Your Bottom Line, How to Profit in Any Economic Cycle.
Yeah, Businomics was published just before the recession, so as we went into the downturn, I had to keep my fingers crossed. But I'm pretty happy with how things worked out. There's an early chapter that helps business leaders understand every major sector of the economy and how cyclical it is, both how high it goes up and how deeply it goes down, as well as the timing. And that proved true. One of the things I said is that state and local government spending always lags the overall economy. So here we are, and I'm speaking in, it's right now March of 2011. Consumers and businesses are increasing their spending, but state and local governments are still trying to figure out how to cut. There was one section of the discussion of patterns that did not hold true over the recession, and that was housing. I wrote that housing is usually the economy's low gear, and I'll make that statement again. It usually is, but it certainly was not in the last recession. But the insight that housing is usually the low gear really helped my forecast. I saw the large overhang of excess supply of houses that we had built in the boom, and I said, well, gee, with this excess supply, housing cannot possibly be the engine of growth. So I forecast that the recovery would be weaker than normal, take longer to get going, and be more gradual. And that great forecast depended on the insight that housing is normally the strong part of the economy in the early stages of the recovery. Yeah, there's a section I'm really proud of. It says it's a box that says the luxury market is sensitive to the economy. As I was writing the book, I heard people say, I deal with high-end houses or high-end cars, and we're going to be insensitive, invulnerable, even if the economy goes into recession. They said, the rich will always have money. Well, maybe the rich will always have money, but they're not always willing to spend it. And in fact, in the recession, the luxury market got creamed even worse than overall goods. I got a call from a yacht broker who was arguing with the point made in the book. He says, actually, the upper end market isn't bad. The market for $10 million yachts would be healthy, he said, except that the guy who wants to buy a $10 million yacht first has to sell his $7 million yacht, and the problem, the yacht broker said, was that the lower end is weak. You can't sell the $7 million yacht, so it's not really the $10 million market's fault. Whatever. The luxury market is sensitive, and I highlighted that in the book. Businomics is not just about economics, it's also about business, how strategy and tactics have to evolve with the changes in the economy. So I have a section in the book about managing in a recovery, and I discuss how companies can be stressed by economic recovery. And that's often a surprise. I mean, recovery is supposed to be good, yeah. But when your orders are up, you may have to lay out cash for raw material, you may have to hire people, and of course the workers have to be paid. And coming out of a recession, you may very well be tight on your own working capital. So you've got to spend money when the new orders come in, but you don't have the working capital. Banks may be cautious about lending you. That can be a real squeeze. So I wrote that. It was published in 2007, and then a couple of years later, I'm meeting with manufacturers like guys who do hydraulics and pneumatics, and they're saying, "Oh, holy cow! Our big customers are Fortune 500 companies that are paying in 90 or 120 days, but we're buying parts from mama papa companies that need to be paid in 30 days." And they were really limited by a factor that I had identified sometime earlier. So feel good about that. Yeah, it's been a fun ride with the book. I've gotten contacts, emails, calls from people in all across the country, in Latin America, in Europe, The book was translated into Spanish and sold in Spain and Latin America. There's a British edition of it. My publisher tells me there's a Korean translation in process, though I haven't seen it yet. It's been a lot of fun. Next. Next is not a revision of Businomics. I think that the book is useful today with a couple of typos. That's pretty much all I change. But the next project is to talk about the cyclicality of the economy. I describe in the book something we call the Great Moderation. The period from '83 through 2007 was the most stable period in American economic history, and our businesses just became optimized for that, and managers took that as normal, particularly people who had been young managers in '83 and are now the leaders in their organization. They got used to a calm era. So the next book is going to be about how the economy is going to be more cyclical and what business leaders should be doing about it to get ready for those ups and downs. And when I say more cyclical, it's not just all downs, recessions. There will be booms. The cycles will come closer together, and what I sometimes say is that the booms will be boomier and the busts will be bustier. I wasn't sure if that last one was a word, so I typed it into Google and lost 2 hours of productivity.
Businomics may be purchased on the Businomics website, at Amazon in print or Kindle edition, and at many local bookstores.